Happy Tuesday, everyone. Eionan here, coming to you from the Minions Lair. Golf tournament today. Prep for golf tournament yesterday. Prep for golf tournament the day before. Got up at 3:45. Worked all afternoon. Made it home in time for the live. So if my energy level is teeny bit low, you'll know why. But we'll see how it goes, folks. First of all, welcome everyone to Eionan's Edge Live, this Tuesday edition for February 21st. Thanks for showing up today. I always appreciate it. I'm going to start with some greetings real quick. But before I do, I want to thank everyone that tunes in, everyone that's here in the chat tonight, everyone that tunes in live and watches every week. If you replay it, that's fine. If you're a lurker and listener, that's okay. If you're driving, coming home from work, school, whatever it may be, picking up your kids in a minivan after soccer, I still appreciate you guys listening, replaying, watching, and being here live on Tuesday nights. So thank you very much. Greetings to everyone. Welcome to all my minions who've jumped in here tonight. We'll start off and see who's in here. We got Bama Ninja, one of my moderators, is here tonight, throwing up some bananas as a greeting. Budget Guy says, I finally made it to one of your lives. Unfortunately, my dinner awaits. So cheers to everyone. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Well, thanks, Budget Guy. I appreciate it. Hopefully you hit the like button on your way out. If you're in here right now, don't forget to hit the like button for me. I really would appreciate that. Dang Ross is here, throwing out some greetings as well. Therese Stab and Troy. Longtime listener, supporter, and minion. He says, hello, everyone. I'm listening and driving. Be safe, brother. Maybe you'll get to check me out a little more if you make it home in time. Stephen Wallace is in here, throwing up some greetings and some love tonight. Hello, Stephen. One of my other moderators, Gonzo, is here. He says, what's up, everyone? What's up, peeps? Marcos Gamma. Hashtag be up for Jason Brown. He says, brother Jason Brown, welcome forever. I totally agree. Marcos also says, happy Taco Tuesday. Throwing out some bananas to me. Eionan's Edge, hope you and the missus are doing well. Mrs. Edge just went for a PET scan today, which is a full body scan that will detect how much cancer she has left for us to battle off and get rid of. We won't probably know the results of that for about a week and a half, but it's good that she got that scan done today so we can see exactly where we're at in this fight. Who else do we have in here? Lots of more greetings going on. David Iverson is here throwing out some greetings. Stephen Wallace throwing out some more greetings. Just Nate. Good to see you, Nate. Nate, one of my minions, has made it in here tonight. He says, hello, friends. David Iverson tossing up some bananas. We always like seeing those bananas. They are the unofficial channel mascot. Dawn Ray is in here tonight. She says, hello, everyone. Another one of my minions, Dawn. Dawn has a great little channel, too, for her homesteading and her projects and raising of animals and growing of vegetables and all that kind of stuff. So if you get a chance, go check out Dawn's channel. Mind of Milton is here. He says, hello, hello. Well, what's up, Milton? I appreciate you stopping into the live stream this week. I really do. Yeah, it was a rough day, actually. Not so much rough, just, we have a few big tournaments at the course every year, and there's a lot of extra prep that goes into that. You bring in extra people, there's extra things you have to do, there's signage that goes up, there's specialty items, and then you probably can't hear it right now, but it started raining a while ago here, and there's only a certain level of rain people can play golf in, and before they can't, and then they have to call them in. And it's no fun doing a tournament when it's really wet and sloppy. It did rain this morning up at the golf course, and then there was more rain expected for around 2 o'clock my time, and that did happen. Actually, right as I was leaving work today and letting my very capable crew handle the rest of the day, started raining. Happens, right? Can't stop Mother Nature. Minions assemble. That's right. Okay, you guys, we're having a meeting in the Minions Lair. Thank you, Mimo. One of my other moderators is here tonight, so thank you. Let's see. We got Crispy Critters in here tonight. He says, yo, peeps. Ed Harrison is in here tonight. Very, very nice. Let's see what we got. Let me shut the volume off. And we got about 20 people in here already. Not too shabby, considering we've only been live on air less than 5 minutes. So I like it. Byron Kennedy's here. Grumpy Grunt says, hola, monkeys. That's right. The grumpy one is here tonight, too. Byron Kennedy is here, throwing out a whole bunch of greetings. Greetings to myself, to Mrs. Edge, to Bama Gonzo, Michael Morgan, and all the minions assembled, plus the bananas. I love it. Thank you so much. You guys always lift me up. Dawn says hello and love to Mrs. Edge. Of course. Very, very, very much so. I will give you guys a brief update on that situation as well. Grumpy Grunt, ringleader of the circus. Welcome, Brother Grunt. Grumpy is. I may rule the minions later, but Grumpy runs the monkey circus over there. Native Wild Man, Sean is in the house. He says hello, Eionan and Mrs. Edge. I like it. I like it a lot. Lots of greetings going up there. Lots of greetings. Okay, cool. Copperlight Steve, I haven't seen you in a while, brother. How you doing? He says hello to everyone. I say welcome back to the Minions Lair, man. It's good to see you. Good to have you in the live stream. I really appreciate you being here, sir. Dang Ross is throwing out some greetings as well. I like that. We got a few folks in here. Crispy Critter throwing out some greetings. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I'm just trying to skim through the chat here. Mind of Milton says, you got this. Always, man. Even if I'm tired, I still got it. Still got it. There's lots of nights when, you think about having to put together your live and get ready to do it and stuff. And you're like, man, I hope I can summon the energy. Today was one of those days. But now that I'm actually here with you guys live, I do feel a little bit invigorated. It won't be the longest live that I do by any stroke of the imagination. But here I am, and we're going to move forward. So since we got a bunch of people here in chat already, let's start with pocket checks. Let's get some pocket checks out there. And I want to know from you guys, when you throw up your pocket check, what is the one thing besides a knife that you absolutely have to EDC? What's that one thing? There has to be that one thing that you want to EDC. So tell me what it is that you feel like, besides a knife or knives, what's something else that you EDC? For me, it's a flashlight. I use a flashlight every single day, both at work and here at home. At work, obviously, I get to work at 0 Dark 30 at the golf course. I'm the boss there for the outside, all the outside service stuff, and got to have a flashlight. So I got my trusty baton. I do sometimes carry a Nebo Torchy, but I usually carry a baton. I sometimes carry an i3T. I sometimes carry an i5R. But the baton is one of my favorites because it's just the right size and has plenty of firepower, plenty of lumens to get the job done. So let me know what you got in your pocket, and let me know what the number one thing other than a knife that you must carry every day is. Let's see. Well, obviously, Sean already threw his pocket check up as soon as I said it. Pocket check QSP Leopard, great little knife, underrated. Kubi Wolverine, Case Mini Fin, and a Rough Rider G. I like it. Grumpy Grunt says, I would say we should have a friendly battle for the bananas, but there's a pretty significant overlap between the monkeys and the minions. That is true. That is true, my friend. Bananas do happen to be one of my favorite fruits, and obviously it is the favorite fruit of minions. So, but I know monkeys love bananas. I do. I get it, brother. There's enough bananas in the world to go around. We may have an egg shortage, but we have no shortage of bananas, it seems like. Pretty Fly for a Knife Guy is in here. Greetings to you, sir. Thank you for joining the stream. Pretty Fly for Knife Guy says a flashlight is mine. So flashlight would be your number one thing other than your actual carry. So throw your pocket carries up and let me know what the next most important thing is that you carry all the time. For me, that would be a flashlight, right? I usually carry 2, sometimes 3, sometimes even 4 knives if I have to review something and I want to carry it and see how it carries for the day and things like that. But I always have a primary knife, usually a 5th pocket style knife and a Swiss Army knife. So I usually have 2 to 3 knives, and then I'll have some, if I have to review a knife, I'll carry that. but a flashlight is in my pocket every single day. So that would be the one for me. Let's see. Michael Morgan says the Kaiser Odin Titanium S35 BN plus Joker Pointer and Stag and Eionan's bronze coin. Very nice, sir. Flashlight is a must. There you go. Mike Reese says he's driving his daughter to dance class and listening and lurking. That's okay, Mike. I appreciate you listening. I will try to keep it clean since you're driving your daughter to dance class. Gonzo, AKCOTF, a Kaiser Cormorant, and always have my Shield Plus. That's a pew, 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 pew. Right? Got to have one of those if you're going out. Right? Better to have one and not need it than need it and not have it. Stephen Wallace throwing out some more greetings. Pretty Fly says, Spyderco PM2 and M4 Tanto. Okay, cool knife. I like that. Crispy Critters carrying a Best Tech Shodan, mini roach, and have to have a hank. Okay, handkerchief. I get it. Yeah, wipe down the blade, right? You never know. Never know when you get a runny nose either. Ed Harrison, today, the Devo Stout, and I always carry a flashlight. There you go. Always carry a flashlight. Corporate Steve says, same as Ed. Devo Stout, he always carries a flashlight. Okay, got it. Iggy, I'm glad you're back. I hope you are feeling a little better in body and spirits. And it is good to have you here in the stream. Iggy is another one of my moderators for the channel and for the live streams. So it is always a pleasure to have her in here. She makes amazing leatherwork, guys. So you want to go check that out. Campfire Leatherworks over on Instagram. Her stuff is amazing. Okay, what else have we got going on here? Bama Ninja's throwing this up. Ferrum Forge Stinger. I have one of those. I have the all-tie version with Nitro V. Love it. Awesome little knife. The CRKT Piler 3. Civivi Odium. Azula on the neck. So that'd be an SE. Yep, neck knife. Very nice. And a Baton 3 Mini fidget coin as well. Very nice, sir. That is a great looking, great sounding carry. Iggy's throwing out some greetings to me. Welcome as always. Oreo Dave has just jumped into the channel here, and he says, good evening, folks. It was a great shame I forget to carry a knife with me today. I will sit in the corner and think about what I did. You will, sir, for about 5 minutes. We're going to give you a timeout for about 5 minutes. So after that, you're going to go get a knife, and you're going to come back and tell me what it was. And also let me know what the number one thing that you carry besides a knife in your pocket is. I would really like to know. All right. Dang Ross says, carried the Concept Cryo Towser S, Kaiser Towser S, Milwaukee Rover Floodlight at work, and now I have a Kunwu X Tau tie. I also carry a classic style Hank. There you go. All the Kunwu knives are really nice. I have the Ronin, but I'm a big fan of all their knives. David Iverson, ZTO 308 We the People limited edition. Very sweet knife. I love that thing. Victorinox Alex Pioneer X, a Hogue Micro Switch. Another underrated small knife, the Micro Switch from Hogue. Of course, all the Hogue knives are pretty amazing, right? They've got Benchmade's name, number, address, and underwear size in terms of what they're doing in the market compared to the Butterfly brand. Let's see. So you got the Hogue Micro Switch, a Baby B Mrs. Edge coin, very nice. Again, I do remind people if you managed to receive as a gift or win one of the limited edition Eionan's Edge channel coins for 2022, please put it in a slip. They are made out of yellow or gold bronze, and so they can be broken if you drop them hard. David is also carrying an Olight i5R tie. Beautiful, beautiful light. Always carry 3+ knives besides coins. I carry an Olight i5R. There you go, right? Flashlight again, right? I do think it's one of the most essential things to carry besides a knife. Greetings going out from a few people, including Native and Iggy. Pretty Fly for Knife Guy says, True Budget EDC has a mint Kaiser Sovereign N690 for sale. If anyone is interested, $50 ship. That's a good price for that knife. So if you're interested, go check out True Budget EDC. Well, my boy Gonzo, 20 minutes and don't turn around at Oreo. Grumpy says, I am weak and have the Kunwu Pulsar that just arrived in my pocket, not waiting for tomorrow since it is Christmas. It is a Christmas gift to myself, and I have waited months for it. Always carry a lighter and a flashlight. There you go. A lighter I could see too. I don't carry a lighter at work, but there's always a lighter available to me around the house when I'm at home. You can figure that out for yourselves. You guys are smart. Let's see what else we got going on here. Campfire Leatherworks. There it is. There it is. I own some of her stuff. She donated some amazing stuff for the holiday celebration this past year. If you're looking for quality wallets and leather goods and things like that, knife pouches, coin slips, etc., right? EDC carry pouches. Iggy's Campfire Leatherworks is the place to go. Byron Kennedy is carrying a Rosecraft Applejack, an off-grid 80 necker, a Sencut Saxy. Kudos to Grumpy Grunt. I'm assuming you won that from him or he sent it to you. An Eionan's Edge channel coin. Yep, you got one too. Always carry a pencil or a pen. There you go. Now see, for some people it might be different. A pencil or a pen might be used way more than a flashlight. Since I work at a golf course and there are pencils everywhere in my supplies and on every golf cart, I don't regularly need a pencil. And when I go into the admin office to do my work, there's always pens in there. So I don't always need to carry one. However, I do. If I do have to carry a pen myself, I love the O Pen Minis. These little, I'll keep my language clean because I know somebody's driving their kid to dance class. These little freaking things are super cool. They're not very expensive. They are bolt action. They do have a little bolt on them here that lets you activate the pen, right? Bloop. And then bloop. And they're easy to carry because they're not really big. You can put them in a shirt pocket. You can put them in a pants pocket. And when you sit down or bend over, they don't stab you in the leg or get bent or anything like that. So I highly recommend the O Pen Minis. I wish they made these in more colors. I only have 3 colors right now. I want to get more. Let's see. Just Nate says he's carrying the Bastide Raccoon and Worko's TS10 flashlight. Yeah, so a lot of people, flashlights are kind of a pretty big item for most people. Oh, of course. Of course, Iggy. Anytime. I wouldn't say anything that's not true. All right, let's see what else we got here. People greeting some other people. Stephen Wallace says, today I'm flipping a QSP Hawk Fat Carbon Copper. Thank you for that. Other than my light and Zippo, a dog leash, and pepper spray. Yeah, there you go. So, yep, some other kind of self-defense thing, right? Lighter of some type. And the Fat Carbon QSP Hawk in S35V. And that was a beauty. I have to say thank you to David over at QSP North America. That is Blade Banter, by the way. But his real name is David. For sending me so much cool QSP stuff, including a very, very, very expensive premium QSP Hawk, which Stephen Wallace won at the holiday celebration among many other prizes. Okay, so what else have we got going on here? Ordo Dave, yeah, Hogue knives are badass. Hogue knives are badass. They really are. There are several other Hogue knives. I've been trying to buy a ballista now for 4 months? They're never in stock, ever. I have held one, and I can tell you this. You can take your Micro Tech Malibus and stick them where the sun doesn't shine because the Hogue Ballista is a better knife. Now, I understand the ProTech Malibu is a little bit older knife and all that. It really hasn't aged well, and I don't dislike that knife, but for the amount of money that costs versus what you can buy the Hogue Ballista for, the Ballista is a way, way, way better premium U.S.-made knife than the ProTech Malibu. You can disagree if you like. That's what the community is all about. But in my opinion, having held and reviewed a ProTech Malibu and having held a Hogue Ballista, I would much rather have the Ballista any day and save a ton of money. All right, what else have we got here? Oh, Don Ray says, I'm back. I almost forgot the chickens. No, don't ever do that, right? Don't ever forget to lock up their coop. Don't ever forget to check on them and make sure they're secure for the night. Raccoons killed some of my chickens that I had back in California. They pulled a clevis pin out of my coop lock, and I had to go to a combination lock because they killed my favorite chicken ever. Still haven't got over that. But anyway, yes, make sure that you have a good coop and that you check on your chickens each night and make sure that they are all put up because They're not very good at defending themselves. What's that popular Hogue knife? The K320? Yes. That is the Sig Sauer. It's the Sig K320. It is actually made by Hogue. It is supposed to match up to, I have several K320s. It's basically supposed to match up to the K320. It has the same grip material, the same scale material as the grips on the K320, and the same stippling, all that kind of stuff. But the K320 is very similar to the Shaman. I like the Shaman a lot, but I like the K320 better. One of the most ergonomical knives you'll ever put in your hand. Comes with good steel, not super expensive, a lot less expensive than a Shaman, let's put it that way. And again, I'm not a Shaman hater. I love them, but there you go. Okay, so it seems like most of the people who are going to throw stuff up did. Shame, timeout is over. I'm always carrying an Orion Scorpio in the house. Burt's Bees is always in my pocket. There you go. All right, so you got something good, Orion Scorpio. I like it. I haven't been linking it because I read your books were closed. Okay, I didn't know that, but there you go. You can, Just Nate says, I have that O-Pen Mini in green. I love it. They're super cool pens, right? They're sturdy, they're small, they're easy to carry just about anywhere. You can stick them inside of an EDC pouch. They don't take up as much space as a full-size pen. They're bolt action, so you have to try to open, you got to purposely open them and close them. You can't accidentally click a button. I like that. The refills are not expensive on those. I think they're about $6 or $7, so they're not super expensive. But they're nice. They're good ink. They're not gel pens. They're regular ink, which I really like. I have a pens, Maglite Minis. It works. I can't chat much. That's okay. I wish I had the funds for a 9. They updated with 4 colorways in stock. I'm sure they're all gone now. Last Ranger. What's going on, Gary? Raccoons killed my grandma. Well, you could even with them then, won't you? Last Ranger said, I have the K320 Classic. I would love to have the matching Pew Pew. No, I've got, if I count Mrs. Edges, we've got 4 different K320s. Plus 2 365s. I have an X. She has a regular one. Nothing in my pocket today. I'm the slacker minion. I've been kind of wanting the deck. The deck is great. I do recommend the Warncliffe one over the Drop Point, but that's just me. I have both, and I like the Warncliffe version better, the sheep's foot version better. Dang Ross says, Freight and Lock currently has a custom chopped Shaman being slept on. Okay. Newer versions of the K320 aren't that much less than a Shaman. Real boys down to budget for me, and a person can't go wrong with either one. No, can't go wrong with either one. Totally agree with you, Grumpy. Can't go wrong with either one. They're both great knives. They're similar in size. They're similar in length, ergos. They both got good choils to put, place to put your fingers. So they're very, very similar knives. I like compression lock, but I kind of like the fact that the K320 has the access lock. For me, that's just a little bit of it gives it just a tiny bit of an edge, but I do like the compression lock too. So like I said, you can't go wrong with either one of those knives, a Shaman or a K320. Iggy is carrying Yojimbo, compression lock also on that Spyderco Yojimbo. An Ion flashlight, refined pen, and Eionan's Edge coin and Hank. There you go. There you go, folks. There it is. Aberdeen Blades has joined us here in the lair. He's throwing out some greetings. Thank you for coming in, sir. If I don't have multiple blades on me, people think I'm really sick. Yeah, is there something wrong with you today? I did want to do a couple shout outs real quick before I move on with the rest of the live. First of all, big shout out to Cue Ball. For those of you who haven't kept up, he did post on Instagram, and he is in the hospital. He tore his bicep. He had surgery. He's recovering. He's doing well, but thoughts and prayers for Cue Ball. Definitely not a cool thing. There will definitely be some rehab from that, but he's a pretty strong dude, and a very, very close friend of mine, Mattisfactions, and a bunch of other people in the community. So please, please, please send your thoughts and prayers out for Cue Ball, that he has a quick recovery from his surgery. Ruby Tunes, what's going on? How you doing, brother? Man, I got to get with you. You and I, we got to touch base. We got to get that project going here pretty soon, so that we can at least start making some headway on that, or you can at least start making some headway on that. So we got to talk. Let's see. Yep, the second one was Darnell. I want everybody to throw some love out to Darnell. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers as well. He's been having some health issues, hasn't been feeling well lately, but he, as you know, he loves the live streams, and has been a long-time supporter and listener. So we hope that he gets better, and we have him back soon as well. And of course, Uncle Kyle listens every week after the fact, always leaves me a comment, always positive. I really appreciate all the viewership that I get from him as well. And finally, Mrs. Edge. Like I said, she just went for a PET scan today to see, how she's doing with the cancer treatments, how much cancer is left, in what areas of her body that it might still be in. Hopefully, it didn't go to anywhere new. Hopefully, some of those areas have been eradicated. We know there's still some in the lymph nodes under her arm, but hopefully, the radiation and some oral chemotherapy is what they're saying will probably take care of that. Let's hope so. Anyway, anybody out there in Minion Land or in the knife community who is sick, feeling well, or not doing too well, I would include other folks like O-Tip in there, because he's always struggling with some kind of health issue or another. I hope you're doing good as well, brother. So best wishes and shout out to you as well. Have you seen? So here's a question I have for you guys before I get into some knife collection stuff. I'm just wondering how many of you folks out there in the live stream, or if you're watching this after the fact, you can throw up a comment on the YouTube channel page for this video, for this live stream. I would like to know, just curiously, how many of you have actually seen a Minions movie? Whether it be one of the Despicable Me's, there are 3 of those, or whether you have seen Minions or Minions Rise of Gru, the 2 Minions movies. There is going to be another Minions movie. There is going to be another Despicable Me movie. They become some of my favorite animated cartoons because there's always so much adult content in them, as well as things that make you feel like a big kid, right? So children can watch them, adults can watch them. But I'm just wondering, like, if you've seen a Minion movie, whether it's on TV or in the theaters or on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K or whatever, throw that up in the chat. I'm just curious to see who's seen them. And if you have seen them, let me know what some of your favorite characters are in Minions, right? Maybe it's not a specific Minion. Maybe it's something else. How does a person tear a bicep? Was he beating Maddie? I don't know the answer to that. I'd rather not think about that. I really wouldn't. It's possible that something nefarious was going on, but probably not. Cue Ball is a big dude, and he's a pretty strong dude. And he basically, when he came to the last knife meetup, like, he had boxes and boxes of knives, and he literally carried all those knives to the meetup in one shot. So he's a pretty strong guy and a pretty big guy. But I could see how he could do something like that and just kind of stress it a little bit too much and maybe tear something. I don't know if that's how he did it, but I'm just speculating. Like, he's one of those big, strong type of dudes. Will B says, I had the Grimsmo Norseman Protect CCKS edition Mordak. Oh, Protect Mordak's got it. Spyderco Schmuck. I like the Schmuck. Kaiser Beg Leader XL, which you carry all the time. Spyderco Ronin 2, Aria Exo, Olight Baton 3, Baton 3 Pro Max. It's the slightly longer one. And a Karis Bolt version 2 pen. Very nice. Sir Garen Gator Lopez jumped in here too. Thank you, sir, for joining. Another minion and supporter. Shout out to Uncle Cow. Yes, shout out to Darnell. Absolutely, guys. Keep these guys in your thoughts and prayers. Shout out to Mrs. Edge from a bunch of people, including Iggy and Neil and Dawn. Neil says, I've torn 3 intercostals and a diaphragm. They hurt. Yeah. Neil was, among many things Neil's done, he was a firefighter. So he's been around the block several times. And once I get through some of the craziness that's going on here at work and some other things, I hope to be able to get back in touch with him. I'm trying to get together with one of my other new friends. Brand New American is in here too. He says, hey, all. I noticed, Brand New American, that you are riding a motorcycle in that picture. This was me, an AMA race back in 2008. So back before I had all the back and hip and joint problems I have now, I was into going pretty fast on things. Race cars, motorcycles, you name it. Shout out to Bill Prox. Yes, brother Bill. All right. So Neil says back to work. Sorry. Yep. Shout out to Prox. Be up. That's right. The be up thing is the sort of honoring Jason Brown. I still throw those in a bunch of my videos and hashtag them all. Mike Jernick says, I have 2 kids. I think I've seen them all as far as the Minions Despicable Me's. Pretty Fly for Knife Guy says, I've seen Despicable Me. Stephen Wallace has seen the first one. I've seen Despicable Me. Lone Wolf, what's going on, man? Good to have you in here, too. Hope you're doing well, man. I know you had some health issues as well for a while. Maybe still do. Crispy Critter says, my granddaughter had me watch them all. I introduced Mrs. Edge to them. She was kind of like on the fence about it. And then she watched them and she was like, oh, these are really cute. I like them. So, you know, I turned her into a fan. Let's see here. Just Nate says, I have. It's been a while, though. Yeah. Will says, I haven't seen them, but my wife has. I think there's been one on in the background when I've been watching a live stream. Not sure. There could be. They're on TV a lot now, too, right? Dawn says, I saw 2. The Despicable Me 1 and 2. Love them. Yeah. Yeah. The Minions one. The Minions, actually, both of the Minions ones. Minions, the origin story of the Minions, is absolutely fantastic. It might be my favorite one of the whole franchise. And then Minions Rise of Gru is really good because it tells you more about the Minions and it also gives you Gru's backstory and lets you know how he came to be who he was, because he was a bad guy in the first one who turned to being a good guy. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but too much. But anyway, you know, they're funny movies and they're kid and family orientated. And they've become my favorite animated ones. I don't necessarily have a favorite Minion per se, but if I did have to pick one, it would probably be Kevin. So Kevin reminds me a bit of me. I'm an Aries, and I like to get shit done. And Kevin is like the get shit done guy. And I don't remember which one of the movies it was, but at one point they show Gru's phone in his office. And he has a green button, a yellow button, and a red button on his phone. And the green button was, I forget which Minion that was. The yellow button is Stuart, I believe. But the red button, like, oh shit, it's an emergency. I need somebody who's responsible and can do stuff. That has Kevin's name on it. And obviously, if you've seen the original Minions, not Despicable Me, but Minions, you know why that is, right? So anyway, little things that you notice, because I've watched the movies over and over again multiple times. If they come on TV, a lot of times I'll just leave it on that channel and watch them. And if you know the story, then you watch other things and you pick up all these little idiosyncrasies that have to do with it. But I just find them fascinating, and I feel like it was just interesting to see how many of my Minions have actually seen Minions or Despicable Me. So anyway, Lone Wolf's giving us some greens. I don't remember. Dang, Russ says, I've seen Despicable Me, but I don't remember anything from it. That makes me wonder. Were we slightly under the influence of something? Cue Ball is a beast. He about broke my hand shaking it. Yeah, he's a big boy. It's a very big boy and very, very strong. So I'm thinking he did something, overstressed himself a little bit and messed that up. Drippy Tunes! Throwing all kinds of greetings out there. I got really high before watching the first Minions movie, so I can't remember anything about it. Well, the next time it's on TV or whatever, you should check one of them out. I would say Despicable Me 3 is the weakest of the entire series. The first 2 Despicable Me's are really good. And both of the Minions ones, Minions and Minions Rise of Gru, are really good. You know how strong Cue Ball is as soon as you shake his hand. That's why I give him a hug instead. Yeah, the last time I saw him, I hugged him. Because yes, he has a very strong grip. Like I was like, holy shit, I have arthritis in my hands. I cannot shake hands too many times with somebody that has hands that strong. Brand New American said I carried Shield and Viper. I won from Lefty. Awesome. Garen Gatorlow, not hard to tear a bicep lifting something heavy at an awkward angle. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he came in, he was like, he had like all these cases on him, and he's walking from the car, and we didn't see him till he like almost got all the way into the knife meetup area. And he had like a big armful of stuff he's literally carrying, and he was like sweat was pouring off his head and everything. So anyway, so I told you guys. Oh, let me see one more thing from Lone Wolf. He says, "Yep, ripped my bicep and got fixed with slap tear, bone spurs, and rotator cuff." Woo. Okay. Jeez. You should have played hockey. I mean, you would have been like me, separated your shoulders so many times you couldn't sleep anymore. Brand New American, I see Despicable Me every morning in the mirror. Honesty there, brother. Honesty. I saw the first two and one of the Minions. Very good. I've neither seen Despicable Me nor Minions movies, but I've neither seen Avatar nor Titanic or Schindler's List either. Well, I would tell you this, Byron. Whether you watch Despicable Me, the very first one, which is fantastic, or you watch one of the Minions ones, preferably Minions, they're tremendously entertaining. They are funny. They are cute. They can be enjoyed by adults, and they're a lot more fun than watching Titanic, Schindler's List, or Avatar, right? Maybe not quite as visually stimulating, in every way, but still have them health issues, Eionan, but complaining doesn't help. That's true, right? It's the same thing with me, right? I can only talk so much about my bad back, my arthritis, my shoulder, et cetera, et cetera. My eyesight's going bad. Minions, the first one is my favorite. Yes, like I said, the original, the first Minions and the original Despicable Me are kind of like right there, 1 and 2 for my favorites. Kevin and Bob, yes, Kevin and Bob. Bob's great because he's such a joyous little soul, and he has 2 different color eyeballs, right? He's got one green and one brown. I had no idea there was a Despicable Me 3 and several Minions movies. No idea. I need to go. Yes, any chance you get to catch up on those, you would definitely like it. 3 Despicable Me's. There's a 4th one of those in the works, and there is a 3rd Minions titled movie that is coming out in 2025. I think Despicable Me 4, if we want to call it that, is scheduled to come out early next year. What's going on? Spring modded shark locks. Well, that would be Demco's. Blaze Burger's in the house. He said, I heard the call, but I can't stay. Everyone have a terrific Tuesday. Hope Mrs. Edge is doing well. She is this week, where she just had a bunch of tests done, including a PET scan. And we'll have the results of those back in about a week and a half, and we should know something more. I do want to remind everyone, while I have a bunch of folks in the stream, next Tuesday, there will not be any Eionan's Edge Live. My kids and my grandchildren are showing up on Tuesday afternoon. I am working that morning starting at 5 a.m., and I'm going to get home hopefully in time to be here before they show up. But obviously, they're coming in on a Tuesday afternoon. I will not be doing the live that day. It's hard enough for me to get up today and go and work the golf tournament and make sure that everything that had to do with my department's end of things got done. And pretty tired tonight, but I wanted to be here and do this for you guys. But next week, there will not be live stream. And then we will probably get back to pretty regular schedule after that. I didn't know they had names. A lot of them do. Yes, a lot of them, they're Minions. You have Otto, you have Stuart, you have Jerry, you have Kevin, you have Bob. I don't remember Stuart. Bob is my favorite. Yeah, Bob is pretty funny. Yeah, because Bob is like a big kid, basically. Let's see. Don Riss. My son has the lobster grip and has no idea. I try to tell him to be careful with us old folks. Yeah, exactly. My mother was like that. She's like, don't squeeze me harder. I'll pee myself. Now that I'm older, I understand why she said that. Although here's an interesting fact that most of you guys probably wouldn't have thought. I am actually the tallest person in my family, on my side of the family. My dad was 5'6". My mom was 4'11". She was actually 4'10" and a half. My younger brother is about 5'8", 5'9". My older brother is about 5'8". My older sister is, I think, 5'8" or 5'9". And my oldest sister, who's no longer with us, she was 5'5" or 5'4", 5'4". So I'm 6 foot tall. I'm the biggest person in the family as far as height wise goes. My nephew is tall. He's like 6'2", but that's because his father, my sister's first husband, was a very tall dude. He was like 6'3" or something. Let's see what else we got going on here. My wife is wearing a Minion shirt right now. She also has other Minions paraphernalia, including an insulated cup she takes to work. I have a bunch of Minion stuff. I have the movies, I have figurines, I have coffee mugs. I have a coffee mug, a Kevin coffee mug I drink. I have a Bob coffee mug on order. I just enjoy the little guys. They like bananas. I like bananas. They're funny. They make me laugh. And you guys are my minions. So there you go. All right. So anyway, I don't want to be on here for too long. More an Unforgiven, Tombstone, Star Wars, Star Trek. I like all that stuff. Unforgiven, amazing movie. Tombstone, I've been to the actual town because I live here in Arizona, and I own Tombstone, the one with Val Kilmer. Classic. Guy should have won an Oscar for that role. Probably one of his best roles ever. He literally stole that movie from everyone else. Even though all the other characters and cast were really good, Tombstone, it's like Rocky. If it comes on TV, I got to watch it. I did have to watch The Notebook and Hamilton with threats of no cake and ice cream. Mike Jernak says, Mrs. Edge, enjoy the grandchildren. I'm sure she will, although she's probably going to need to take a few naps here and there because they are both pretty high energy. So I'm a little behind on comments. Let's see. My mom was 4'11" too. You had a tiny mother. Cool. Okay, so let me go through some of the knife collection. So every week I've been going through some knife roll stuff. Going to do that this week as well. This is, I believe, knife roll 3 of 6. I have 6 knife rolls at the moment. The last one is about half full, and I also have a drawer, a nightstand drawer that is absolutely full to the brim with knives. They're in knife cases and pouches, and I got to do something with that. I can't stuff any more knives in there. The drawer is going to fall apart one of these days. But anyway, let's go through this real quick. So this is knife roll number 3. This one has a Swiss Army knife cadet, which they now call the recruit. This is basically a tinker without the 2 extra tools here in the bottom. I also have a black tinker as well. That is over in the knife cabinet over there, so I'm not going to go grab that out. Basically the same Victorian knife. Why I like this one a lot is because you still get most of the tools you like, but you get a bigger blade, right? You get a larger blade. You get a larger blade, a smaller blade. You get a couple of screwdrivers, pry tools, etc. So this is still a pretty useful one. And you get a small blade too, right? It's got the little blade. But this, sometimes if I don't carry an SD Classic in my pocket, I'll carry a Tinker or I'll carry a Cadet. This is the Cadet, which they have renamed now the Recruit. And this is a great size knife because if you can see it, you can get all 4 fingers on this thing to use it. So I really like this knife as an alternative to carrying an SD Classic or something smaller size, right? Some of you guys have seen this knife before. This is a knife that Mrs. Edge found at a thrift store. And this is an Imperial folder, and it's made in Providence, Rhode Island, USA. I looked all the information up I could find on it, and it is from the early 60s, early to mid 60s. It's hard to tell exactly, but it's in great shape. The blade was a little rusty. I cleaned it up, put a new edge on it. It's a really nice little slip joint type of knife. And then I have, in that same bag that Mrs. Edge found knives in, I have what I call the Sword of Truth from South Park, right? This is a Japanese knife. This is made by a company called Ring. They don't make these anymore. They still can be found online. They go for about $80 to $100, depending on the size and what kind of condition they were in. And this is one, the blade's not in the greatest shape. I had to clean it and re-edge it. but I have the sword of truth. The sword of truth. If you watch South Park, Make Love Not Warcraft, you know I'm talking about. I have the sword of truth. There it is. I want to be a small pirate, a large pirate with a small knife. So that's what that is. It does lock too. You actually have to press in on this thing like this to get it to go down. So it is not a slip joint. It is a lockback. So a pretty cool little knife. I dig that. Have to credit my lovely wife for finding the bag of knives, and that was one of the last two knives I showed you both in there. And I have the typical Swiss Army knife, right, which has everything pretty much but the kitchen sink in it. I do carry this occasionally. I keep one about this size in my car. I don't carry one of those in my truck because I have a full tool kit, and I usually carry some type of full stainless knife in my truck. But this is a pretty cool Victorinox. It has a lot of cool tools in it. Not too many. It is bulky, but again, it's good when you just need to think you might need some extra stuff and you want to throw something in. All right, what else have we got here? We've got the Sencut Acumen. I love this knife. This is a great small knife. You can get 4 full fingers on this little bad boy, right? Sencut Acumen, not a super expensive knife at all. Really, really good qualities. And for those of you who don't know, Sencut is Civivi's budget line of knives. I really, really dig the Sencut Acumen. I like blades with a little deeper belly on them, so this fits the bill very nicely. This is a great backup knife for me. I'll carry this a lot of times when I have a bigger knife on me and I want a smaller knife that I can take out and still use for medium cutting tasks. But this thing's pretty durable. Has a good coating on the blade and 9CR 18 MOV. I have the O Knife Dreaver in Stormtrooper colors, white with all black hardware. It's a great knife, has a great finger trail. The finger trail on this knife is really, really big. There's a lot of room here. So even if you got big chunky fingers like a cue ball or Satu Dave or a Grumpy, get your fingers on there. There's plenty of room. And you can even hold the knife in the normal regular position like this or in saber. And there's plenty of room on there. It's a great knife. It has fantastic ergos. All the O knives are made by Kaiser at this point. They're OEM'd by Kaiser. And it's a great little knife. It really is. So N690 steel, Stormtrooper layup. Do I amuse you? Am I? What's going on over here with Lone Wolf? He said, do I amuse you? I'm not sure. Did something happen over here? Did somebody insult somebody else? If somebody pissed somebody off, you should apologize and we should just move on from that, because that's not what this community is all about. Honey Bear is in here too. He just joined the stream. Faction is in the stream. Thank you. Let me try to catch up on some of these comments. He was an animal in that movie. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Oh, movie quotes. Okay, gotcha. Movie quotes. Knife that I've already reviewed. This is the Sencut Onerous in wood finish. Great little knife. Comes in a few different finishes. Both Grumpy and I have both reviewed this knife and both really like it. This knife is under $50. Has great steel, good ergos. It's a good size. I really dig this knife a lot. The next knife is a CJRB. It is a CJRB Centros. Dylan Mallory design, obviously by the little, you can see the little M spider here on the blade. This one is D2 with carbon fiber handles. This knife was what I call a Friday night, let's go out and get drunk knife. This knife came from the factory with all kinds of small little blemishes, had the worst blade on it I'd ever seen as far as the edge, the sharpening of it. They didn't countersink some screws. There's a couple of little tiny fit and finish issues with the way they did the handles. This was one of the most disappointing knives I was ever excited to get. I have fixed everything except for the fitment on the handles back here. I fixed the clip issues, the screw issues, and I put a fresh edge on this on my Workshop Precision Elite. But this knife was a disappointment. And matter of fact, Jason Brown actually always supported my channel, but he actually watched the review of this knife and he's like, damn, you really were honest about that. And I really appreciate it. And it's true. The quality control on this knife sucked. Plain and simple. It's a cool design, but I was very disappointed in it. So, and I'm a big CJRB fan. I have a lot of their knives, but the Centros that I got was definitely a Friday, let's go out and drink beer knife and let's just get one more knife done and get the hell out of here. Next knife. For those of you folks who are on a budget and are looking for a full-size knife, a bigger knife that you can buy on a budget price, I believe this knife sells for around $55. This is the Miguron Valona, 14C28N steel, full-size knife, great G10, great fit and finish, nice big blade. Here I am with my large glove-sized hands. There's room to put another whole digit on this knife. Nice long blade. If you're looking for a big full-size knife that is well manufactured, has a milled pocket clip on it, right? And has plenty of knife there for you to get your big old mitts on, the Miguron Valona in 14C28N might be the ticket for you. All right, what else have we got here? I'm trying to run through these a little quicker. I don't want to hold you guys up too long. I bought this on a whim. I wanted to see how much like the Archbishop from Ferrum Forge Archbishop that was offered by this really was. And this is an Effengrow, whatever you want to call it. This is an Effengrow here, and this is supposedly the same size in general and the same basic blade shape and all that as the Archbishop is. I like this knife for what it was. It was $30, right? But obviously, you know, I was kind of interested in the size, and then I've actually had a chance to compare it to some of the Ferrum Forge models that it copies, and it's pretty freaking close, let me tell you, in overall size, shape, and dimensions and all that. It is D2 steel, so there's that. But nevertheless, it gave me an idea of whether I wanted a full-size one, which I do. So that's why I bought it. I'll probably give this knife away at some point. It's a really good, well-built knife. There's no real issues with this thing at all, other than the fact that it's D2, which is not full stainless. Petrified fish, baby. One of my favorites. This is the full-size Hunter. A lot of people have these knives. I did review this knife at one point. It has some crazy, crazy nice micarta on it. Let's see if we can get a picture of that. Come on, baby. Come on. Is it not going to do it? Because my face isn't. There it is. There's the micarta. Look at that. This stuff is great. It has perfect texturing on it. This is the way that micarta should be done. It's all beveled. It's all rounded off. It feels amazing. There are no hot spots on this knife. This is the full-size Hunter. And I have to tell you, so this is the 949, PF 949 full-size. They make a smaller version of this, but if you like a bigger knife, this could be the ticket. Nice titanium clip. Great, great fit and finish on this knife. Falls closed. That one I get. I get this one here, Gonzo, until the sweat runs down my ball. Yeah, that's from what is it? The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Okay, the next one is an Italian-made knife. This is a MKM Isonza. And I bought this because I wanted a really tiny fifth pocket knife. Pretty cool knife that's got the lava carbon fiber handles. So red, they call it red lava. It's got a cool anodized back spacer with a humongous lanyard hole. If you're a lanyard person and you want to put a lanyard on here to make the grip of this knife bigger, they got all the room you could ask for. Decent pocket clip on here, wire one, which is reversible. M390 steel. Again, this is the MKM Isonza. It's a Vox design. It is a tiny little knife. It is a really cool fifth pocket knife, though. It does have some pretty aggressive little jimping to put your thumb on the back of the blade. And I've carried this a fair amount. It's a cool little knife. I definitely would recommend this if you're looking for knives. I bought that one on sale. I didn't pay $130, whatever it was. I think they had it on sale for like 90 bucks on it. A knife that's near and dear to my heart. Also a Vox design, made by GM, Giant Mouse, a company that I really love. This is the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio in the natural brown micarta. I also had a green one, which I loved, but Papa Rhino was really interested in that. So I gave him a good deal on the green one, and I kept this one in M390 because this knife was basically a gift from the one, the only Grumpy Monkey, Grumpy Grunt, my brother Marine. He actually sent me this knife, and we worked out this little kind of deal. I basically got the knife for free, and I supported another knife company that he was hoping that I would help out with, and I did that. So he gave me this knife, and so when it came time to part with one of them, it was an easy decision. I'm not getting rid of the knife that Grumpy gave me because this one has sentimental value, and I love this knife. Now, in full disclosure, this does have a smaller finger choil than most of the other Giant Mouse knives. That is why Grumpy didn't like it. If this had a big finger choil like it was supposed to have, like most of the other Giant Mouse knives have, Grumpy would have kept this knife because he liked it, but the finger choil is too small. The Ace Riv, which is smaller than this one, it's a true 5th pocket size knife, has a huge finger choil on it and is an amazing knife. For some reason, they decided to go smaller on this. Still fits my hand, still fits my finger, doesn't fit his. Word to the wise. Almost done, guys. We're almost done. We're getting closer. Budget guy and I were talking, and I was telling him that I wanted to check out a Ganzo that had access lock. So he actually sent me this one. I sent him some swag and stickers and a fidget ball and a few other things, and he sent me a free knife. He sent me a Ganzo Firebird. This one is the FB760. It's a 440C stainless. It's got the access lock. It's a cool knife. The only thing that I will say about it, which is something that he pointed out too, was that the pocket clip is not super strong on this thing. I didn't really have a problem with that, but I could see how if you wore thicker pants or you were somebody who might get the pocket clip caught against something once in a while, it might be a little bit too not stiff enough for you. But it's a great knife. It's built really well. It's very rugged. It's a good size. It's got plenty of handle width on it. Good blade, drop point blade. And again, these are like $20. This is a $20 knife, folks, with access lock, acceptably good stainless steel, and good solid ergos. Jimping up here, plastic jimping on the spine. They jimped the top of the liners. Hard to not like a knife that's $20. You're not going to really worry about beating up a $20 knife. All right, what else have I got here? Somebody else said they were carrying the Orion Scorpio, and I've got 2 Orions here. I've got this little bugger here. Somebody please help me out. I forgot the name of this. It's been a long day. It's not a Scorpio. It's the little brother to the Scorpio. I forget what this is. Somebody put that up there. This is the smaller knife, the second knife that David released. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here. Anyway, it's a great little button lock with the little clip point on the front. There's even jimping up here so you can really choke up. And then also along with that, I have the original Orion Scorpio in the raindrop carbon fiber. Oh, the Scorpio, the Solaris. Sorry, this is the Scorpio. That's right. This is the Scorpio. I told you it's been a long day. And the Solaris. Thank you, Grumpy. I knew he would try it one of the first people. Grumpy said, that's Scorpio. There you go. And the Solaris in the raindrop carbon fiber. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I love this knife. The ergos are great on this knife. You can hold this anywhere you like. And then he just basically sized this one down a little bit, gave you a little smaller blade, gave you the option of a couple different places to hold it. But both of these knives that David designed are fantastic. 2 button locks, really good designs. This one has micarta. This one has the raindrop carbon fiber. They're both in 14C 28N. Well done steel. Both of these knives are users. They perform well. The only thing I would say, I do prefer the Scorpio a little better in one respect. The Solaris is pretty chunky in your pocket. It's like carrying a little stick of butter. That's what it feels like. So that's my one negative about the knife. All right, what else have we got? We're almost done with this knife pouch. We can get on to some fun stuff like story time and things like that. What else have we got here? We've got an Asher Spiro tie in reverse tucks. This one was from last year. One of my other knife rolls, I just bought some older Ashers from NebuCloud. He was selling some of those. I do like this knife a lot. This is the frame lock version. I actually like the older pocket clips better. They were a little flatter and didn't have as big and as steep of a spoon on them, so they didn't have a hot spot there. It's one thing I don't like about the knife is the pocket clip. But S35 VN, good steel, good performing knife. I've got an Asher Picket. A lot of folks have these. They were selling them cheaply last year as blemished. There's absolutely not a goddamn thing wrong with this knife. I guess you could say there's a tiny bit of a smile mark on each side here where they put the actual bevel edge on the blade, but it's super, super tiny. Other than that, the knife is absolutely perfect. Most people would never notice that. If you're a knife person, you will. But beyond that, this is a great pocket carry knife, also an S35 VN. They run about $65, so they're not super expensive, but he had them on sale at a significant discount. So I bought a couple of them. And then I have another one of the Asher Spiros. This is in like a grayish green micarta as well. A little bit slightly different blade design, slightly, but really beautiful knife. Has really nice micarta, some cool jimping on the back of it. Another really cool knife. I totally dig this thing. So that, folks, is knife roll number 3. That takes you through some of the mid knives that I had. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing all those. I know people have asked about my collection and what I have. When I get to the drawer, there'll be a lot more higher end knives and more expensive knives in there too, just because a lot of those knives came with cases and pouches, and that's where I just tended to stick them all in a drawer. What do we got for comments here? I know I probably missed something. Tree Stabbing Troy, the ST126 in the pocket, of course, carry flashlight. The ST126 Troy won from me. That's a cool knife. I covered that in one of my other knife pouch reviews. I think the first or second one. Carry flashlight at Stark half the day. I've seen all but the last Minions movie. There you go. So that would be Rise of Gru, I guess. People are throwing out, oh, Bluminati's here. Bluminati, don't go away. If you're still here, don't go away, brother. You're coming up. Don't go away. Urban Woodsman is here too. I actually used Urban Woodsman in last week's segment on this. So if you folks were here last week, you know that every week I have pretty much been picking one or two. I've been picking one or two things out every week, and we've been having, yep, it's time this week for Drunken Knife Reviews. Get yourself ready. This is going to be fun. So I'm going to share these up real quick. Hold on one second. The first one that we're going to do is we're going to do Bluminati Ninja. And this is Bluminati Ninja's Drunken Knife Review. Here we go, folks. Bluminati Ninja coming at you. Drunken Knife Review on Stellar Christmas Gift. It's late, but thank you, from Stella's Knife Obsessions. And this is Bluminati Ninja's Knife Review. Drunken Knife.
What's up, everybody? Bluminati Ninja here, coming at you today with a package. I'm running a little behind. It's coming from Sister Stella. She sent me stickers.
Oh. He's a wee bit beyond.
Some packing peanuts.
I'm gonna eat those.
Tactical peanuts. And
Illuminati says I'm in the spirit world. Oh. I love how there's this big long lag. Look. Now he gets the knife out.
Kaiser.
Oh.
What we have here.
I love you, bro. This is hysterical. I watched this today and pissed my pants. Oh.
Is a Kaiser fire ant.
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is so good. Are you gonna make love to this knife? Or oh, there he goes. There he goes. He's opening it.
Titanium and S35VN blades.
Finally got that out. Oh my god, this was absolutely priceless. So here's the second one, folks. This one is Mitch Bowling. Mitch Bowling is going to do the second one. Let me get Mitch up here. Yeah, it is super funny. It sounds like he's on shrooms or something, right? It's absolutely freaking hysterical. Do we find the white rabbit? I know. Like I watched it slow down, and I'm like, no, not slow enough. And then I slowed it down a tiny bit more, and I was like, perfect. So please go check out Bluminati Ninja's channel. Donnie's a great guy, an amazing person, has a great channel, always does solid knife reviews, but go check him out for real. If you want to watch his videos half speed, that's up to you. But nevertheless, fun stuff. Yeah. Today, Bluminati. Exactly. All right. Anyway, the next one we're going to do is Mitch Bowling. I'm going to show you his real quick. His is pretty funny too. He does the Kubi KU322. Ready? This one is good.
What's up, YouTubers? For the fifth knife giveaway of the 1K giveaways. This is the Kubi 322. I will link the review up there. I think it's the 322.
I'm not sure what knife I'm revealing today.
But
I think it's
yeah,
the 322.
like I said, I'll link it up there if you're watching this on your cell phone or tablet or
I agree, Don.
something
1K.
like that versus if you're casting it
Oh.
to TV, you won't see it. But it will be it off. But before I do talk about the giveaway, I'm going to go ahead and recognize 2 more.
So that's enough, I guess. But the rest of the video is pretty freaking funny, guys. I have to tell you, it's amazingly funny. He goes on and says some other stuff that made me absolutely bust a gut laughing. Take it off. I know. So this has kind of become a fun segment in my show, right? And I always have to go and look for 1 or 2 videos. And sometimes I'll watch some and I realize some people actually talk pretty fast. So when I slow it down, they don't sound drunk. They just sound fairly normal. For instance, Cole over at Tri-State EDC. When you slow Cole down because he talks so fast in his videos, he sounds pretty normal still, right? A little slow, but pretty normal. So it really depends on who you go over. I found out that Blade of Doom, you can't slow his down. He sounds kind of the same at half speed as he does at regular speed. Like his delivery is very smooth and even. So yeah, he sounds like maybe he's hit it a little bit, but unlike Bluminati and Mitch, who sound like they did too much Indica, basically, yeah, Beard of Doom sounds kind of normal, and so does Tri-State. So it doesn't work on everybody. Yes, Tri-State still talked okay, but I thought that was supposed only because it made him, he enunciates really well. And so Tri-State's was like, it was really sharp. Like all of his enunciation was sharp. It was like somebody who was purposely trying not to make a mistake when they were reading. But anyway, good stuff. I'm going to do G-Ball, Bama. Yes, I'm going to do G-Ball. I'm going to get to G-Ball. I'm saving G-Ball for a night when I can do a couple of his because I've looked at some of G-Balls and they are pretty fucking funny when you slow them down. So Tactical Terry, what's up? You're coming in near the end, but guess what? You didn't miss, Tactical Terry. You did not miss story time, which is coming up right now, right this very second. So despite the fact that I'm tired and I'm running on fumes and I've still got to go over there and make dinner for Mrs. Edge, and I'm probably going to go out on the back deck afterwards, I'm going to give you guys a story time. So you know what time it is, minions. That means gather around in your little circle, grab your blankies and your pillows, get your sippy cups, gather on in close, because it's story time, Unky Eionans. That's right, my favorite tagline. Gather around, children, it's story time with Unky Eionans. Story time, that's right. Get your popcorn out, get your chairs, get your blankets ready. It's story time. That's right, bananas, people, bananas. Bananas. The whoopee is all warmed up. Okay, Crispy Critter, that's good. All right, so you guys know I've told you a lot of different stories. So if you're a longtime follower, you know that my dad was quite the interesting guy. So much so that I actually have told a whole bunch of dad stories. He was a Depression-era kid, and he had led such an interesting life. Not that I haven't led a fairly full life, but he led such an interesting life, and he lived through so many cool decades and did so many cool things. And he was a bit of a wild man, like a wild man. I actually dedicated 2 of my live streams to him. So if you're interested in listening to that, and I would tell you that if you are new to my live streams, you can go back and you can find the 2 live streams. I spent 2 whole live streams telling my dad's life story. The early part from a kid up to the middle of his life, and then from the middle of his life on. It's fascinating. I think most people in here will tell you there's a lot of cool stories about my dad. But those 2 live streams will give you a real big insight into who he was. My dad was somebody I respected and I feared. As a parent, I was not a kid who got in a ton of trouble with my parents because, well, that was the time where parents, they whoop your ass, right? I don't try not to swear too much, but Richard Campbell made it in just in time for story time. He said, wanted to say hello right quick at work. Do have a great night. Thank you, Richard. Sorry you can't stay for story time. Yeah, is that a banana in your pocket, or are you about to tell me a story? Yeah, it's true. The Corvette story. Dawn loved the Corvette story too. That was about me ruining the sale of a Corvette that my dad was trying to sell. Let's see. This, what does he say? Lone Wolf says this teeter pre-roll is wicked. Not that anyone asked. Ha 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 ha. Let's see. Tonight, it'll probably be either Big Mac or Jelly Bean after dinner. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. Story time. Story time. So this is a story that involves my dad, but it's really a story about me when I was a kid. So my dad, he liked cars. My whole family liked cars. I liked cars. I had a 72Z28 Camaro that you could literally watch the gas gauge go down on. Had a lot of different vehicles, had some really piece of crap ones. My first car was a total piece of shit. It was a Ford Pinto, which is like having a Chevy Vega or an AMC Gremlin. But my dad really liked cars. He had a Corvette. He had a Dodge Demon 444 on the floor. He had a huge four-door Dodge Coronet that he lugged our family around in. That was the story about when the guy in traffic, the guy sprayed beer on his windshield and he jacked the van up on the front of the chrome grille of the Dodge. So my dad, some of you guys have heard the stories, my dad was a wild man. He really was. And he had a temper. Like if you got my dad mad, you were in a world of trouble. So anyway, here's the story for tonight. My dad, when my parents were still together, so I was less than 10 years old. I think I was about 8 or 9. And if you followed my other stories, we had the house I lived in at that time had an old mill complex behind it and a canal, and then the river beyond that. So my dad was a welder and a ship fitter and all this stuff, and he made really good money. And he bought, oh look, everybody's throwing in strawberry shortcake. Yeah. Right. So I can see the crowd I have here. There's a reason, right? But anyway, I appreciate y'all. So anyway, my dad, he made good money. And so he bought a Grand Torino, white Grand Torino, brand spanking new. This would have been, I don't know, 70, 74, 75, somewhere in there. Somewhere in that general vicinity, I would think. So he bought a Gran Torino, a brand new one from the Ford dealership down the street. And he really loved the car, V8 in it, power, cool car. And he would always be out there every time that car got dirty because he bought it brand new. He didn't have a lot of new cars, right? And he'd be out there washing it, putting the mother's carnauba on it, waxing it all up really nice, right? And most of the time, like the car truck he drove to work, or my mom had a Vega, by the way, right? I had a Ford Pinto when I got older. She had a Vega. But anyway, he'd always wash this car and he was always keeping it clean, everything. That's what happens when you buy a new car and it's expensive and you worked hard for it, right? You want to take care of it, right? Especially something like that. It's not just a transportation car, it's a muscle car, right? So it's parked in our driveway all the time, not on the street. And it had rained and my dad had driven the car a bunch of places and the car was actually a little muddy. Mud on the rocker panels, mud behind on the rear quarter panels, tires were muddy, right? A little mud up underneath it, etc. Oh, I'm like 8. I'm like, I don't know, 8 or 9, 7, maybe 7, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. And the car's sitting there muddy in the driveway one day. And I think, my dad works really hard. He really loves that car. I'm going to wash it. I'm going to wash my dad's car. So I get this big bucket from our cellar, like a 4-gallon bucket. And I go down to the canal and I walk down to the edge of the canal and I get 4 gallons worth of water out of the canal. I come back up the street, and I go into the basement, and I find this rag, this like cotton cloth rag, and I start washing the car with the water from the canal. And I start getting all the mud off, and I realize it's a little streaky. So I think, well, maybe I'll just wash the whole side of the car, and I'll wash the wheels and get all the mud off. So, you're 7, so no one's ever taught you how to wash a car, right? We lived in an old colonial house, so we didn't have a garden hose outlet anywhere on this house, by the way. You had to fill a bucket inside and bring it outside. But anyway, I just went and got some water out of the canal. I dump it on the car, and I'm rinsing off all the mud. But, as a kid, Dawn Ray, she's like, dirty water and a rag rubbing, yes. So I get the car all washed off. There's no more mud on the car anymore. Car doesn't have any more mud. Tires don't have any more mud. I actually got all the mud off the tires. Did a good job on that. And then I just got some more water from the canal, and I splashed it on the car until all the mud ran off, right? After I was done. Yeah, this can't end well. That's right. And this was in the afternoon. And so I washed the car, and I get done. And I go in the house. I don't say anything to my mom. I put everything away, and I go upstairs and I start playing. And my mom calls me down for dinner, and she said, your father just pulled in, and he's coming in the house. It's time for dinner. So I come downstairs, right? And we're eating dinner. My dad's in a great mood that night, right? He's not super tired like he has a lot of nights and everything. He's in a great mood. And my dad says to me, he goes, how was your day? I go, oh, it's fine. I went to school today, and I came home, and I did something really cool for you, Dad. And he goes, you did something for me? And I go, yeah. I said, I did something really cool for you. I said, I washed your car. And my dad was one of those guys, and I'm like this too. He works hard for his money and his food. So when my dad would eat, he would literally eat with his head down, and he would talk to the family while he was eating. Like in between a bite of food, he would finish chewing, and then he would ask questions, and people would talk, and he would keep eating, right? He was a hard-working man, and he loved to eat. So he's eating, and his head is down, and I go, yeah, I did something for you. He goes, you did something for me? He looks up, and he goes, that's really cool. All right. And he goes, what'd you do? And I said, I washed your car today. And my dad literally drops his spoon and his stuff, his silverware, trunk. And my mother looks up, and she goes, puts her hand over her mouth. She goes, you did not, Richie. That's what my mom called me. She called me Richie. You did not. And I go, I did. I washed the car. I go, I got all the mud off of it. I got all the mud off the tires. I got all the mud off the side, all the mud off the back, the quarter panels, under the rear bumper, everywhere. I got mud off of the whole car. And then I doused it with water and rinsed it all off. My father still doesn't look up from his food, even though he's dropped all his silverware. And he says, tell me where you got the water. And there's a pause, and I can tell that he's waiting for this answer. And I know now as an adult, in his mind, he's like, please say you got it from the basement. 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 I know that's what he's thinking, because years later that he told me that that's basically what he was thinking. He's like, I was praying that water came from somewhere inside the house. And I said, no. I said, I went down and I got a bucket out of the canal, and I washed all the mud off, and then I got another bucket out of the canal, and I rinsed the rest of the car off. And my dad, he gets so red. Like when I get excited or mad or whatever, like my ears get red. Like his ears are bright red, his face is bright red. My mother's sitting across the table from him. She goes, Leslie. My dad's name was his actual legal name was Leslie, but Les was his name. She goes, Leslie. She goes, Leslie, look at me. And my dad looks up. And at that instant, when he looks up from his food, from the table, I realize he's mad. I realize he's really freaking mad. And then I get really scared because I'm like, oh my God, I did something bad, right? And he looks up at her and she says, remember, your son was trying to be helpful and washed your car. And my dad looks at her and he goes, yes, Ruth, you're right. Okay. This is one of just a handful of times in my life that I did not get a spanking or a beating or even punished technically. My dad turned to me and he said, I know you're a young man and I know you were trying to be helpful. He goes, but the next time that you want to wash a car, he said, you let me know and I'll show you how to do it properly. He said, I appreciate the gesture of you washing my car. But the type of water and the type of cloth, the type of soap and wax and all that stuff that you use, son, has a lot to do with how clean the car comes out. And I go, Dad, the car's really clean. There's no mud on the car anymore. I promise. And he goes, I know there's no mud on the car, son. He goes, but the next time I wash a car, I'll show you how to do it. And he did. And that's one of the few times in my life that I did not get in trouble or get a spanking or get sent to my room or any of those kind of things for doing something bad. And yes, I totally ruined the paint on his brand new car. Micro scratches on it everywhere. I was a kid. I didn't know any better. So that, folks, is what being a parent is all about, right? Sometimes you have to understand when a child is trying to do something that they think is good and they turn out doing something that isn't necessarily good, right? Like ruining the paint on a brand new V8 Gran Torino. But my mom, yes, I would agree with you, Dawn. My mom, no, it was all white. It wasn't red with a white stripe down. It was an all white Torino, but it was that same kind of car. 2-door, chrome bezeled, mag wheels, hood scoop, right? Really cool car. My dad got laid off from his job a little while after that. He was working actually 2 jobs at the time. He got laid off from one of his jobs and he ended up selling it to the guy that lived next door to us. So the Gran Torino was parked. My dad had to get rid of the car, and the car was parked across the yard from our car, from our house. And he said that was really hard. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, my mom probably saved my ass, truthfully, because she reminded him, hey, your son tried to do something nice for you. Maybe that wasn't the right way to approach it, but he tried to do something nice for you. So watch your children. Right. And if you think your children are going to do something silly like that, you might want to. Then my dad taught me how to wash a car right after that. He wanted to make sure I never washed another vehicle that way again, which was great because I got an appreciation for washing vehicles and I understood how paint worked and how clear coats worked and how chrome could get scratched easily and things like that. But yes, I thought I did something cool. I thought I washed all the mud off my dad's car that he loved. Blazeburger, let's see what he says. Yes, it was the same type of car from Starsky and Hutch. It just wasn't red with a white stripe down the side. It was an all-white car. Blazeburger says, Eionan, my son drew a picture on the side of my van with a rock. Oh, my God. He says it's a person in the picture, but it looks like a... My son drew a book on the side of my van. Let me ask you a question, Blazeburger, because here's the important part. How much trouble did he really get in when he did that? Like, I knew you were mad. You had to have been. But what, on the scale of 1 to 10, what was the spectrum of trouble he actually got into? That's what I'm. I'll send pictures later. Oh, tell us an AMA racing story. I will tell you a story about racing, but not tonight. Because I've run out of time. Blazeburger driving a movie. Remind me and I'll tell a story about racing some other time, okay? I washed my dad's 1970 Dodge Challenger when I was 10, born 1970. I got my butt beat that night. That was the last time I ever touched that car. He still has it. It's debatable if my mom didn't get involved in that conversation, whether I would have got a butt whooping. I think at the very least I would have got in trouble and got grounded. But, you know, Dawn says, my kids are people in my front door with Sharpie. But see what I mean? See, this is why this was a good story, guys. Because I don't know if I can top your kid drawing a dick on the side of your that's absolutely priceless. But no trouble. He was 3. Okay, there you go. So there you go. I think I was about 7 at the time. I know it was a couple of years before my parents split up and got divorced. So probably like around 7 years old. So, you know, I never washed a car. I just seen him out there a few times with a bucket and like a chamois or whatever he was using washing the car. So I figured, you know, put some water and I'll go wash it. I didn't know nothing about paint and clear coats and all that. But anyway, this is my point, guys, that this kind of stuff happens. And this is what parenting is about, right? This is what realizing that your children are going to make mistakes, right? Then my kid was upset when his dad drew on my wall with oh my God, like father, like son. Well, there you go, folks. All right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. I got to go make some dinner for me and Mrs. Edge. Thank you all for tuning in for another Tuesday edition of Eionan's Edge Live. I hope you like the broadcast. You guys always bring me up. I am dead tired, but I had a lot of fun doing this tonight. And I have to tell you guys, again, I truly, truly appreciate y'all being here. Thank you to everyone who showed up in the live. Thank you to everyone who listened. I have plenty more stories, so those will happen every week, as always. Thanks again for tuning in. Remember, there will be no live stream next Tuesday, but it will resume the following Tuesday. My kids and my grandchildren will be here, so no live stream next week. I love y'all. I'll see you in 2 weeks from today on Tuesday night here in the Minions Lair. Stay sharp, everyone. Stay sharp. Love you.